Good evening, everyone. My name is 12 Gauge. Welcome to my channel, 12 Gauge Investigative. If this is your first time here, thank you so much. Please remember to hit the like, subscribe, and share button. It is January 11, 2026, and we're about to talk about the latest news on the Uvalde cops on trial. This is such a sad case, and I hope that you understand that most of this case, whether you have an opinion on it or whether you're watching it as it unfolded, there is so much that we weren't even prevalent to at the time. I believe that these individuals that should have went in there and saved those kids and failed to do so, eventually they will get their day. They will get their day. Once again, I'm going to show you, in case you forgot what I'm talking about. Here we go. Let me get this stuff up to date. It's been a while since I've been live. I've been busy doing my thing out here in this world. Been hustling that money, you know what I mean? Sometimes the money we hustle out here in the world pays a lot better than YouTube ever did. Here we go. Let's go back in time a little bit.
It can be cruel. The families in Uvalde know this better than anyone. Most have now watched the videos showing what happened inside Robb Elementary during the 77 minutes that forever changed their lives. At 11:28,
77 minutes of torture. 77 minutes of torture. Am I honest? Observation of it, 77 minutes of torture. Can you imagine being a child in this situation?
a.m. on May 24th, 2022, surveillance footage captured a man crashing a truck into a ravine near the school.
Oh my God, they're running. I don't know why. Oh my God, he has to die.
Moments later, he ran towards the campus, firing his weapon. A teacher who was standing outside immediately realized something was wrong. She ran inside, shut the door that had been propped open with a rock, and called 911. The door she pulled shut should have locked automatically, but it didn't. At 11:30, teachers across the
I really wish that door would have locked because it might have saved time. But as we're going to see, time really didn't matter in this case because the people weren't determined to get this piece of crap from killing small children. Look at him. He had just shot his grandma in the face and headed to this school to prey on innocent people that could not defend themselves.
Campus began locking down their classrooms as the gunman continued firing.
Apparently he's out there with a rifle, so they're with us.
At 11:33, the shooter slipped through that unlocked door, walked down the hallway, and entered classrooms 111 and 112, opening fire. As responding officers arrived, their body cameras captured the chaos.
Oh, shots fired! Get inside! Go, go, go!
Surveillance and body camera video showed officers reaching the hallway within 2 minutes. Investigators say during that time, the shooter fired more than 100 rounds with his AR.
So they reached that area within 2 minutes. They could have taken this dude out, but the 77 minutes till it was all over.
15 rifles.
Shots fired inside the building, Uvalde!
At 11:36, two groups of officers entered the school from different directions. According to investigators, Uvalde School District Officer Adrian Gonzales was among the first to go inside, followed by District Police Chief Pete Arredondo. At 11:37, the gunman fired at officers as they approached the classrooms. Two officers were grazed by the bullets and retreated. None shot back, according to an after-action report conducted by the Justice Department. Instead of engaging an active shooter, as they are trained to do, investigators say officers treated the situation like a barricaded suspect.
He's on inside this building. We have him contained.
Chief Arredondo didn't go in either. Investigators say he called for backup and waited. At least one officer was heard pushing to act.
We need to get these kids out of here.
More officers from DPS, Border Patrol, and other agencies arrived,
They're scared, man.
yet still no one confronted the shooter. Instead, they focused on finding keys to the classrooms. At 11:44, the
I never heard that. That's interesting. I didn't know that they had scissors, but that makes a lot of sense. There was one teacher that was shot defending his students. I mean, there was a lot of acts of bravery that went unnoticed.
gunman fired again. Officers still did not move in. At 12:03, a child called 911 from inside the classroom, pleading for help.
Please hurry. There's a lot of dead bodies.
According to the after-action report, officers knew children were still alive.
Somebody, student was on 911, 12, locked in there, multiple casualties.
Video shows officers standing just outside the classroom with ballistic shields capable of stopping rifle rounds. The shooter continued firing. But it wasn't until 12:50, after 77 agonizing minutes, that a Border Patrol tactical team made entry and killed the gunman. Inside, chaos erupted. So many officers crowded the hall.
Look at all these officers. There's all these officers and one person with a gun. You're telling me that they couldn't have bum rushed him and took him out? Sure, some of them would have got shot, and sure, some of them would have died. But you know what? They might have saved some of those children that ended up losing their lives.
Always that paramedics struggled to reach the wounded. Outside, paramedics set up a triage area, trying to save whomever they could. Deputy Felix Rubio paced in desperation, searching for his daughter, Lexi.
Yes, indeed.
Lexi was among the 19 children killed that day. Now, both Chief Pete Arredondo and School Resource Officer Adrian Gonzales face multiple felony charges of abandoning or endangering a child for their delayed response. Both men have defended their decisions, but prosecutors and critics say if they had followed their training, perhaps more lives could have been saved. I'm Rebecca Lopez.
I agree with that 150%. If they would have done their job, chances are more people would have been saved. And here we're going to hear from the testimony, one of the teachers. This is the saddest thing I've ever heard. I can't imagine being in her position. Here we go.
Education teacher in a classroom. So I was the SPED teacher that was in the classroom in 102.
And who did you co-teach with?
Mrs. Alvarado,
Okay. And what campus did you work at?
Robb Elementary.
And how long had you been working at Robb Elementary as of May of 2022?
About 8 years.
And what grade were you teaching at the time?
4th grade.
Now, what room number was your room?
It was room 102.
Okay. I'm going to hand you a pointer, and if you would come. May the
Okay.
witness get up, Judge?
Please.
Ms. Ogburn, I'm going to give you this pointer. I'm going to ask you, here we have a board that's been introduced into evidence as an aerial view of Robb Elementary. Do you recognize it?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and here we have the campus right here.
Mhm.
I'm going to give you this pointer, and if you would show the jury where your classroom was, 102.
102 is right here in this corner.
That corner, the
Yes,
south
the
end
south end, yes.
of the building. Okay, thank you.
She, excuse me, she just pointed out where the classroom was. So they were asking her questions as far as her recollection of that day. That horrific, horrible day.
Now, did you begin the year at Robb in the 2021-2022 school year?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And for the jury and for the record, the record from the court, can you explain to the jury what is a lockdown procedure?
Lockdown procedure was lights out, windows covered, and you hide in a corner that you can't be seen from the window that's at the door.
Okay. And you had received this training as a teacher for the Uvalde Independent School District?
It was spoken to us about, like, every year they kind of briefly go over what the procedures were, but it had always been.
I don't know if any of you in the chat or any of you that are watching in the future, if you've ever been involved in a school or some kind of life employment where you do have active shooter training or anything like that, but please share your experiences about that active shooter training and let us know exactly what it's like and, you know, whether it's easy to follow or did they just drop the ball.
Shut your window, turn your lights off, make sure your door's locked, and hide in a corner that is not visible to the windows.
And is that the same training that the students receive?
Yes.
Okay. And how often were you trained on this? You said they mentioned it, or?
Well, we did a training for teachers. Usually they would mention it during our PD days before school started. And then throughout the year, we'd have lockdown drills and fire drills and all, practice all the.
So just a heads up on anybody that's watching that doesn't know about this case or has forgotten about this case and time has gone on. They were having an awards assembly that day, and there were some kids that were leaving to go home, and there was other kids that were still at the school that were going to finish out the day. And they were just having kind of like, if you remember the last day of the school, it was a chill day. Wasn't a lot going on. And then all of a sudden, this individual starts and comes in and starts devastating
drills that we had.
And who would provide the training to the students?
Usually it was just our staff at Robb that would go back over it, or actually us that would train. I'm sorry, didn't realize you said students, but usually us. So we would, before lockdown practice drill, we would tell them, okay, we're going to have a lockdown practice drill. This is what we're going to do. Myself and Miss Alvarado, I remember talking to him about it, and we were like, we are just going to shut the window, the shade on the window that we had. We are going to turn off lights, and y'all are to file over here into the corner by Miss Alvarado's desk.
Okay, now you said in the corner. Let's go back a little bit. Can you explain to the jury, when you walked into your classroom, what was the layout? What would you see?
So when you walked in our door, you walked in on the left side. We had a cubby kind of blocking, so you couldn't see. There was not a line of sight to that area over there. And then you walk and you turn to the left of that bookcase or cubbies, and there was a built-in cabinets on top and like a built-in desk all the way across. And Miss Alvarado's desk was in the opposite corner of where the entrance was to the door.
Okay. And your desk?
My desk was right in front of the door, but in the opposite corner.
Okay. And going back to the lockdown procedure, you said you would tell the kids, this is what we're going to do, and how you would be in the lockdown, and what would you be doing? What would you be waiting for?
We'd wait in the corner. The kids would get quiet, stay quiet. And during a drill, it was just wait for somebody to come back on the.
I mean, I don't know any of y'all that are watching right now, what kind of drills you remember as a kid, if you remember the fire drills, if you remember the tornado drills. Some of us even had like nuclear war drills. I don't know if y'all had any of those, but we'd have those drills, and like she's saying, instantly, whenever something went off, boy, it almost went without thinking, okay, everybody needs to get to safety. Everybody needs to get to safety. And she's describing this to a T.
Intercom and say all clear, all clear.
Okay. And in the event that it wasn't a drill, what would you wait for?
They told us to wait until law enforcement comes and announces themselves before you leave your room.
Okay. Now I'm going to take you back to May 24th of 2022. What were your hours that day?
We worked from 7:30 to 3:30, usually, or 4, and then that day was kind of an off day because we had, award ceremonies and things, so we didn't have like a schedule of classes that day. It was just do your award ceremony, and the kids, we kind of had a very relaxing day that was going to happen.
Okay. And what time was your award ceremony?
I don't recall exact time, but it was close. We got back to the room closer to like 11, a little bit after 11.
Okay. And
yeah, we didn't have active shooter drills. Not when I was young either. I mean, it was always the tornado drills, fire drills, stuff like that. Like I said, the nuclear war drills. I mean, it was the Cold War era whenever I was in elementary school. So, I mean, hiding under a desk wasn't going to save your life, but at least they did something to try to give you the sense of protection and stability. PKC said they had fire and earthquake drills. I've never been in an earthquake drill, but that seems like something in your area that would need to be done for sure. That's interesting.
And what were y'all going to do once you got back to the classroom from the awards ceremony? What was the plan?
For us, it was the kids were going to relax. We were going to put a movie on. We were allowing them to go in and out, to go to the bathroom, because we had been in the wards and they were all excited. And so we told them, if you need to go to the bathroom, ask us and just go ahead and go, and we'll start the movie in a few minutes. So that's kind of.
And I don't know about you, but movie day was the most exciting day when you were in elementary. When they wheeled out that cart with that humongous monstrosity of a TV that was strapped on there with those straps, boy, you knew you were about to have a good day because they're going to show a movie. And most of individuals that remember the last days of school in May, you showed movies, you ate candy, you ate snacks, whatever, just to get through the school day. So envision this type of environment as these kids have gotten awards in the morning. Some have went home, some have stayed, and they're watching a movie, they're going to the restroom, doing whatever, just a chill day, it sounds like.
What was going on at that time was the kids were going back and forth to the bathroom and then coming back to the classroom.
Okay. So did y'all have plans to go outside or just watch the movie?
We were going to watch the movie, and we had told the kids that we would go outside a little bit earlier than we normally did. We usually went outside about 12:15 for recess, and then we went to lunch at 12:30. So we kind of were like, we'll go out a little early, but we're going to wait a little bit because it's real hot outside.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were like, we'll just put this movie on and y'all can watch the movie until we go outside.
And while you're watching the movie and waiting to go outside, what did you hear?
Well, one thing I do recall is some of the girls that are in our classroom had to come up and asked. And I distinctly remember looking at my watch and saying, it's only 11:21, girls. We're not going to go out yet. We're going to wait because it's really hot out there. And they were like, okay. I said, just go sit and watch the movie and relax for a little bit. And myself and Miss Alvarado were doing paperwork to kind of, we have to do end of the year things to wrap up the year. So we were doing some of our paperwork while the kids are watching movies.
Okay.
Once again, it sounds like a very chill, very kind of laid back day. Hey, go sit in your chair. It's not time to go to recess. We all loved recess. I know we did. So think about that. You're not really into the movie. Maybe it's a movie that you've seen 100 times and you really don't want to see it. You want to go outside and play with your friends, but they're waiting for that. They're waiting for that. So it's still a little while.
And what happened?
I don't know. It was like 8 minutes later. I'm not really sure. I heard, it sounded like metal hitting the brick. And so we assumed, myself and Miss Alvarado assumed it was some of our custodians out there working, because it wasn't uncommon for us to hear noises and them outside working on something.
Of course.
And so I thought it was like maybe a shovel or something hitting the bricks as they were digging up something. I didn't know. So I stood up and looked out. I had a window right behind me, but I couldn't see anything out of it anyway. So I stepped over to the other window on the opposite side from my desk and looked out the window. And
What did you see when you looked out the window?
I saw a guy dressed in black. He kind of had mid-length hair, and I saw a backpack and a gun pointed towards the playground and pavilion area.
I mean, can you imagine what she described? She described a guy dressed all in black with a gun pointed toward the recess area. To a lot of people, they have that mentality in their mind. If this happens, I would have done this, or I would have done that, I would have done this, I would have done that. You saw in that video, that lady ran in, shut the door behind her, and started calling 911. She was very active, very present. But a lot of people try to rationalize what they see. This woman saw what she saw. Let's hear what she had to say.
Now, I'm going to give you this pointer again. I want you to show the jury where you saw him once you looked out the window.
Okay.
May the witness get down, Judge?
I can't imagine.
Yes, please.
I cannot imagine.
So there was a tree right outside this window right here. My desk was over here somewhere, and there was another window. So I was looking out this window closest to the corner of the room, and there's a tree here, and he was standing by that tree
Okay.
on the sidewalk.
And where you're pointing to for the record is the southwest corner of that fourth grade building. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And we see a sidewalk that's kind of in an elbow shape, right?
Yes, that right
Okay.
there, and that leads up to the south door.
Okay. And he was on that corner.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Let me sit down.
I can't imagine. Can you look out, you see somebody all dressed in black with a gun, and you're thinking, what the hell? This isn't registering. What is this dude doing? He had just wrecked his truck in the ravine. She didn't see that, but she saw him coming up the walkway.
Once you saw the shooter on that corner, and what did you think?
I was like, we've got to get down and go ahead and hide, go into like there hadn't been a lockdown called yet. And I was just like, we got to get down. So I went, oh my God, there's a gun. And the kids kind of started panicking, and I just told him, get to the corner, hide under there. And we had a black curtain that actually went all the way down that built-in desk that we stored stuff in, because we didn't have a lot of storage. So we had put stuff under there and hid it with a black curtain. So usually our kids, when we were doing practice drills, they would get behind the black curtain. Not all classrooms had that, but ours did. And so they would get behind that curtain and hide. And that's what they did.
Okay. And what did you do when she said that he has a gun and you tell him to get down? What did you do?
Miss Alvarado had left her keys on the desk, and we had not locked the door that day because we were it was very relaxed. We were waiting for all the kids to finish going to the bathroom. And I went to try to throw my keys at her, and both of us were like, no, he's coming in that south door is what we thought he was doing. Because the way,
I mean, think about this a minute. You're having children that are going in and out, they're going to the restroom. Your responsibility as a teacher, children's safety first, above anything. So think about this. She throws her keys at the teacher, and they're gonna lock the door, right? But her instinct probably is telling her, hey, all of our kids aren't in here, and this dude's about to come in this door.
he was walking and pointing his gun, looked like he was going to come in through that door. And so I was like, we have no time, just hide. So all the kids hid. And I remember coming around all the desk, and I had two little boys that were actually sitting by the door, and I said, no, get over here, get over here. So I had them go around the cubbies and get behind the cubbies and underneath. And right about that time, I heard gunshots, and I felt stuff falling on me. So I literally went onto the ground on my belly and started just crawling on my belly to get underneath the curtain with the kids.
Okay.
So you just heard that, okay? She's feeling all this stuff falling on her head. So instantly she gets on the ground, starts crawling toward the kids. Like I said before, many people in true crime say, I would have done this, I would have done that, she should have done this, she should have done that. When you're not in that situation, how do you know what your senses are going to do, how you're going to respond, and so forth? I mean, this lady seems like she lived through hell that day, as well as those other kids, 77 minutes of it.
And the kids were already underneath that table?
Yes, they were already there.
Okay. Did you move any furniture? Did you
Not
change
at,
things?
not
Okay.
at that time, no.
Okay. So what did you do? You crawled to where the kids are?
And I laid underneath. I was kind of closer to Mrs. Alvarado's desk. I crawled over there and got under there, and there were kids all around me, in front of me, behind me. I kind of felt like my body was kind of sticking out of the curtain, but I was trying to cover myself with that curtain too at the same time.
And is that part of your lockdown procedure? Complete?
Yes. I mean, for me, for our classroom, it was, because then they were completely out of sight.
Okay. And the kids knew this?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have one student that was trying to protect you?
Yes. I had one of my students, after I got under the curtain, I was laying on my stomach, and he crawled onto my back and laid across me and rubbed my arm and telling me.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? Kids are so brave, man. Kids are so brave. He was protecting his teacher.
Ms. Ogburn, it's going to be okay.
Okay. So what did you do after you crawled underneath the table and were with the kids?
At that point, I was like, oh my gosh, what if I was the first person to see this guy? I've got to notify somebody. I didn't know who had seen him or not. So I had my Apple Watch on, and I dialed 911 from it. And I did that twice, and my calls were dropped. And I think it was on my third try that it finally went through. And 911 operator was asking me where I was and who. I don't even recall telling her my name. I just said, I'm a teacher at Robb Elementary. There's an active shooter in our building. I'm in room 102, the new building at Rob. And that,
So you have, just like common sense just said, the teachers and the students followed the protocols better than law enforcement. So you have these teachers calling 911. Tell me what you, as a person, you're calling for help and you're thinking, okay, they're on their way. They're going to help us. They're going to extinguish the harm that's coming our way. But when it doesn't happen and you're frantic and you continue to hear all this.
and she said, stay on the line with me. And I told her I couldn't because if he heard me, he was going to come in our room and shoot us. And I just hung up the phone. I didn't wait for her to say anything else.
Okay. Do you remember if you told her that somebody had been shot, or did you get?
Oh, yes, I did. I remember. I had also told her that Miss Avila, I didn't mention her name, but I said another teacher across the hall from me because I couldn't remember her room number, had been shot and had sent a message in one of our group chats from like several years back. We had a math Google chat, and I guess that was the first one she opened, and she sent a thing saying she had been shot.
Oh my God.
Now, where is Miss Avila's room in relation to your room?
Her room was just like diagonal from my room. There was one room across from me, and then hers was the next one over across the hall.
Okay.
This is so heartbreaking. And I didn't cut the screen off. Her face is being concealed for a reason, I guess. But this is heartbreaking. Can you imagine being in her position? Her coworker's been shot. She's sending a group text. You're waiting for law enforcement. You might even hear them coming. You might even hear the siren. You're thinking, okay, help's on the way. Help's on the way. You're counting down the moments. Okay, they're going to save us. They're going to save us.
Okay. Now, you said you called 911.
Yes.
Okay. And you would recognize your voice on that tape, right?
Yes, I would.
The state would. Okay. The state offers exhibit number 10 into evidence, which is the 911 recording of Ms. Ogburn.
The
state would ask to publish that 911 recording to the jury.
Please.
You got to tell you that one. You got to tell you that one. I'll fix you up, dog. Y'all go and tell them I'll fix you up. Y'all go and tell them I'll fix you up. You could do the two thirds somebody shot over the classroom. Somebody shot in the classroom. Okay, can you tell me the teacher? Another classroom. I don't know. I don't know. Can I what room number? What room number? Can you tell me what room number? I don't know if you're criteria. I don't know what that was.
She is one of the teachers that was in the Uvalde Rob Elementary School while the active shooter was going through. And she's describing her recollection of that day. This guy's on trial as well as the other guy because they did nothing to assist. And this is a resource officer. The other guy was a sergeant of the police department, and they did nothing to help. They were the first on the scene. Terrible, man.
I want to be real specific about why you hung up and why you told her, I can't let him hear me. What was your thoughts about that?
Because I really thought he was still in the hallway. I had heard a door kind of shut, and I thought it was him coming in that south door, so I was scared he was right outside. And he was going to come into our room, and I didn't want him to hear me.
Okay. And that's part of your training?
Yes.
Were you eventually evacuated, Ms. Ogburn?
Yes. Eventually, I don't know what law enforcement agency they were with, but what seemed like an hour went by was not. But a law enforcement officer happened to come in, and he was like, "Is there anybody in here?" And the kids, and he announced himself, and I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something to do with law enforcement. And they said, "Yes, we're here, we're here."
Okay. In other cases, and I'm not going to get into the case that I'm about to talk about, but this woman is experiencing a traumatic event that should never have been experienced by anyone or any time. But there's multitudes of people that say, I would have done this in a traumatic event. There's no way that she could have froze. There's no way that she would have been unable to understand she would have recalled everything she said and did. This woman is testifying and telling you she did not remember what she said, what was said to her, because she was focused on living. She was focused on living, not the minute details that everybody has after the fact. You know what I mean? She was focused on living. And I don't know anybody on this planet, if you have really that sense of correlation in your mind where death is at your door and you're going to focus on every little thing that you're saying or hearing. No, you're focused on living.
And then he said, "Are your teachers here? Is everybody okay?" And myself and Miss Alvarado were like, "Yes, we're here, we're here." He asked me and Miss Alvarado, go out the window, move the bookcase and go out the window. The bookcase was located underneath the window I had previously looked out at and seen the shooter, and it was also the window that he shot into when I dove to the ground. And so myself, and this bookshelf was our library, so myself and Miss Alvarado like pushed it to the side and opened it with glass just falling everywhere around us. And then we put a chair up because it was a little high up for the kids to get out the window, and we started filing kids out the window.
Who was the last person to leave your classroom?
Myself.
Why is that?
There was a few kids that went before Miss Alvarado. Miss Alvarado went, and then I let the rest of the kids go, and then I went just to make sure that we all of us in.
See, she didn't go first. She didn't go. She waited till all the kids were gone through that window before she went. That is old school bravery right there. I don't know about y'all, but that is heroism at its finest point. It really is. Because people today, there's some adult that would have waited, or they wouldn't have waited on a kid. They would have went through the window first. Everybody for themselves. She waited for her student to get safe, and then she went.
Gotten out.
So you went to make sure the kids were safe?
Yes.
Miss Ogburn, are you still teaching today?
Yes, I am.
Ask the witness.
May I proceed, Judge?
Please.
Ms. Demi?
Miss Ogburn.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking wrong. Please forgive me, Ms. Ogburn. My name is Nico LaHood. I'm one of the lawyers that represents Adrian. I want to start. I'm sorry, I apologize. You said something at the beginning of your testimony.
And this is the defense attorney about to cross-examine. So we're hearing both sides of a court trial that actually is going on right now. So think of the court trial that you've seen, the court trial that you wanted to see and never got to see. This is exactly what the court process is. Pay attention to what is being said and how it's being done.
That you're a SPED teacher.
Yes.
And that means special ed.
Yes.
Yeah. I have a special ed needs son, so that's why I know that. So I appreciate what you do very much.
Yes, thank you.
And so you kind of, do you do the ARD meetings as well? Or
Yes, I do.
Okay. And that's an extra duty you do in relation to your special ed teaching?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was room 102 a special ed's room, or was it just?
Well, a co-teach classroom does have special ed children in it. The majority of them are general ed students.
Right.
And usually it's like a 60-40 breakdown.
And so if it's like our son, it's they do some things with the general.
I worked with all of them.
But what I'm saying, do they isolate some of the special ed kids at times to work on certain stuff?
No,
They all at the same time?
all at the same time.
Got it. So let's talk about the day, because it looks like that this was, I think you said it was an off day and you really didn't have a schedule that day.
Yeah, we had our lunch schedule, but we didn't have our regular scheduled classes.
Right. And that's not a criticism, it's just the way it was.
No, it's just the way it was because it was only like a day or two before school was
Right.
to be out.
And you had your award ceremony, and then so did some kids leave after the award ceremony?
Yes, sir.
And so the ones that stayed, it was more of a after school play time, just hang out.
But yeah, we were just gonna hang out. We had some like projects. We had like fun like STEM projects we had been doing with them a few days, like the day before. And we were gonna probably continue that later that afternoon and finish some of them up.
And just so the jury understands it, what's a STEM project?
STEM is science, technology. I can't remember it all.
And as you understand, the defense attorney's job is to cause doubt, confusion, and discredit most of the witnesses that are testifying. He hasn't gone that far yet with this person, but that is their whole point of being the defense attorney. So that's what their job is.
Anyways, it's basically like math, everything together, and they can create things. It's more of a creative way to use their minds. And so we're building roller coasters out of paper plates or stuff like that.
And then at some point, I think you described the noises you heard. You thought it might be maintenance working on things.
Yes.
And noises were normal.
It sounded just like metal on brick.
I want to also ask you, do you know what a bailout is?
Yes, I do.
Will you please describe to the jury what a bailout is?
A bailout was when we had illegals that they were basically chasing down, and they would stop and run out of their vehicles and hide from the police.
And the bailout is referencing bailing out from a vehicle and going on.
Running, yes. And we also had some chases in the air, just some chases with illegals through our.
This is one teacher's recollection. I'm going to show you another teacher's here in a little bit. And one thing that I don't understand in the second teacher's, and this is the protocol that needs to change, because I spoke on this the last time that I was talking about the Uvalde case. You know, I just don't believe in what I'm going to tell you. It should change. But this teacher is a hero in my eyes.
Area.
And in your opinion, was that pretty frequent in your area?
Yes, it was kind of normalized by then.
The bailout was normalized.
Then yes, the bailout.
And so is it fair to say when there was a lockdown called, and you tell me if I'm wrong,
Mhm.
it seems like the lockdown lost its seriousness over time.
I know that for my classroom, we took it seriously all the time, but it was kind of like, oh, it's probably another bailout.
And that's what I mean. I mean, if it's when I was younger, fire drills was okay. It's a fire drill, right?
Yeah.
So you just got another fire drill once a month. But this is not a drill. It was an actual bailout, and it seemed like that they, like you said, became normalized.
Right.
And so the lockdown procedures, it sounds like you followed them specifically. Do you know what the culture was about lockdown procedures?
I mean, we all feel like all the teachers there followed them, but also I didn't get the lockdown message on my phone, or actually I didn't have my phone because I left it on my desk.
And
on my watch was a text message, and then I recall maybe an email coming through, and that was like 11:36, somewhere in there about.
11:36, you got the lockdown message?
Yes.
Are you aware that he entered the building at 11:32:58?
I was aware after the fact, yes.
Yes.
From watching videos, yes.
Right. And when you say watching videos, and we've kind of had to deal with this with all witnesses.
Yeah.
because it's been so publicized, everyone has seen stuff outside of your experience.
Correct.
Can I humbly ask you to try to focus on, and it sounds like you did a great job, focusing on what you were thinking and what you experienced at the time versus what anybody saw after based off of
Yeah, I
someone's
know.
opinion.
How I was feeling at
Yes,
the
ma'am.
time,
Yeah.
I was very, very nervous. I had several like other people trying to call me on my watch, and I just said, one of them was my husband. I said, I can't talk. There's an active shooter in my building. I hung up.
And when you describe the lockdown,
I mean, come on, man. I don't like defense attorneys. If you're a defense attorney watching, um, I'm sorry, but you know what? I don't agree with their tactic. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I understand it's a job. I understand you gotta plant that seed of doubt, but you're advocating for somebody that killed that didn't stop. They might as well have shot these kids because they didn't stop them. You know, they didn't stop the killer.
and there's two aspects to it, right? And I think they're broken down into hold and then
He's trying to paint the picture that they've had so many drills that people might have thought, including his client, that this was a bailout, that it was nothing serious, that it would just like every other drill. Okay, everybody's gonna chill. It's just a drill.
actual lockdown, right?
Yes.
Hold means hold in place, don't go outside.
But you can continue teaching and doing your regular activities.
Right, and then the second one is, okay, this is more precautionary, this is the lockdown. The lockdown portion of it is where the lights lock the door and hide.
Correct.
You said something, because I want to get to the culture of door locks in a second. You also mentioned that I think the government asked you about if you guys went over these procedures, and you said they briefly went over them with us.
Yeah, every year they kind of briefly go over it with us to like refresh us, like this is how you do each of these things. But like the state, and I don't know how many times a year it is, but the state has guidelines on how many times we have to have these drills.
Do you recall how many times the school had them?
Oh, we had them.
But you know what? Regardless of how many times they've done the drill, you got to put that in people's heads. And I've heard it stated, act as if this is real. Act as this is real. This is not imaginary. Think in your head, this is a real situation. This is a real situation. React as if it was happening for real. And, you know, you go through these drills and you can't panic. You have to go relying on your training.
I know at least 2 or 3 of them that year.
Okay. Lockdowns or the
Drills.
Okay.
Drills.
And so we briefly go over them with you. And then one of the things about, as we've all gotten into this horrible incident, it seems like you're taught and the children are taught, and I understand, we all get it, to be quiet.
Yes.
But if you would know, if everyone is quiet inside, if somebody's outside, there would be no way for them to know if anybody's inside if they don't know the schedule. Was that a fair statement?
Well, yes and yes, but also if you don't know.
See, this is what angers me about defense attorneys. Did you hear what he just said? Everybody's taught to be quiet and be still, but as his client would have thought that there was nobody in the building. That's planting that seed of doubt, right? If everybody's quiet, then there's nobody in here. What do you think about that? What do you think about that?
The procedures, you don't know that we're supposed to be in there quiet.
Agreed. But also, what we have found out, and I want your opinion about this, your school was not assigned a full-time officer.
No, we didn't have enough officers at that time to have one at each school.
And this is not a criticism of you, you understand?
Right, no, I understand.
I'm just saying, do you know if teachers had been requesting administration to have a full-time officer?
I don't recall that.
Okay. But the fact remains is there was not a full-time officer that
was at our campus all the time, correct.
Now you talk about locking the doors. So every teacher was given a key to their door, correct?
Yes.
There wasn't a kind of key fob of
No,
badge.
no. We had none of that.
Right. And were there some teachers that used a magnet to make it easier for substitutes that didn't have keys?
I recall seeing some on some doors, but I didn't know if they used them or not.
Okay. But that was, the teachers got a key, but substitutes didn't get a key.
That is correct.
Do you know, or do you have an opinion on the policy of the external doors? Because there was a policy that the external doors were supposed to be locked at all times.
A few years before this, I do remember it, like one of our principals really enforced it. But we hadn't really heard about locking all the doors, but the west end door was always locked that went out to the teacher's parking lot.
Do you know now that on this day, unfortunately, that door was not locked?
I do know that now, yes.
But policy wise, it was supposed to be
It was
locked.
supposed to be locked.
That's exactly what he's trying to paint, that since it was quiet, the officer would have thought, hey, there's nobody in here. The perpetrator is gone, there's nobody in here. We just need to wait. Bullshit.
And I'm sorry you have to go through that 911 call again and reliving what you went through. But you said something important that caught my attention. You said, I thought he was in the building.
Mm-hmm.
And now you know that he walked upside the west, so he
Correct.
wasn't in the building when you thought. And that's not a criticism.
Right, I know.
Stress does interesting things to perception, right?
Yes.
Have you heard of the term perception distortion?
No, I have not.
Okay. But you understand stress is
Yes, yes,
different things to different people.
yes.
Okay. And so when you said you thought he was either going to go in the south building, he didn't, correct?
No.
And when you were on 911 call, he wasn't actually in the building at the time.
I did not know that at that time.
When you were on the phone with 911, you were hearing multiple shots?
I heard multiple shots, not while I was on the phone with them,
Okay.
but before I was on the phone with them.
Right. So are you aware that by the time you were on the phone with 911, that he had already been in the building?
Yes.
Okay. For some.
But now I am.
Right. At the time, you did not know.
No, I did not.
I think you testified on direct examination that when you got a message from a teacher that had been struck,
Yes.
what was the name of that teacher?
Elsa Avila.
Avila?
Mhm.
And if I'm looking at a diagram of yours, you're on 102, correct?
Yes.
May I approach, Judge?
Yes.
Just for me.
Okay.
I have to hold you as you're back. Can I be this close to you?
Yes.
Okay, her testimony is almost over. Hang in there, and then we'll jump into something else, and then we'll hear from another teacher. What is your opinion about this defense attorney's strategy? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Share your thoughts in the chat.
So if you're 102, where's your
Elsa's was this one, 109.
109?
Yes.
Do you want to introduce it or? Let me just see.
I've got another one.
I just wanted to shoot my shot. 109. Yeah, I'm good. What do you name it?
Christine has one.
This guy is a resource officer. His name is Adrian Gonzales. He is being tried for failure to protect and follow protocol. And I think they said 12 counts. And he's trying to, I guess his testimony, his defense strategy is he ran in there, he didn't hear anything, no gunshot, no nothing. So therefore, he thought the situation was over because he's not a full-time resource officer there. So that's his defense.
My first witness, Judge?
Yes, sir.
I'm handing you what you marked as Defense Exhibit 1 for identification only. You recognize Defense 1, correct?
Yes.
This is kind of a diagram of Robb Elementary.
This is a diagram of just the new building or the newer building at Robb Elementary.
And
Yes.
the new building is really the newer building,
The
right?
newer, it's not that new, but yes.
And 102 is where you were at on the screen.
Yes, right here.
And then 109 is where Ms. Avila was?
Yes, just,
And is this diagram a fair and accurate depiction of the newer building?
yes.
Judge, I move Defense 1 into evidence.
No objection.
Thank you.
Submitted.
Can I call this to the jury?
Yes.
And so, at some point, the government asked you that your class was evacuated.
Yes.
Do you recall what agencies evacuated you from the window?
I do not. There were people dressed in, I didn't see faces. I saw uniforms and people still dressed in like their everyday clothes with tactical over it. But so I don't know all the agencies that were there.
But there were officers getting the kids out.
Yes, there were officers getting the kids out.
And do you know now that Adrian was one of those officers?
No, I still do not. I did not know that.
Okay. Well, I think you're a woman of honor to go last. Thank you.
Okay, let me stop that one and we'll go to the next one that I have set up for you. So, wow. I don't know how y'all feel about that, but here's the next one of some disturbing revelations that were presented to the jury.
Doing that coverage, and she joins us now live this evening. Natalia.
Mike, Leslie, well, it's been another emotional and busy day here at the Nueces County Courthouse. Day 5 of the Uvalde trial was underway, involving a former Uvalde CISD officer, Adrian Gonzales. And well, today I was in the courtroom where for the first time during the trial, we heard from the parent of a victim who died that day at Robb Elementary. And we also heard from the medical examiner who gave details, very graphic details of the children and teachers who died that day as well.
12 gunshot wounds were noted. The injuries that were produced included the brain, the right lung, liver, right kidney, thoracic spine and spinal cord, as well as the right humerus, which is to say the long bone of the upper arm.
Jennifer Garcia, the mother of one of the victims, Eliana Garcia, also testified, explaining what happened that day on May 24th, 2022, from her perspective, from the moment she dropped her child off at school to her end of the year award ceremony where she was recognized as a helping student, to her finding out that her daughter had died at 9 years old, just 1 week before her 10th birthday.
I mean, we waited there for a couple hours. Unfortunately, ours, I want to say we were the second, third to last parents. At the end of the day, about 9ish, 10, to find out that one of our children was one of the deceased.
So is this what people wanted to see in the Koberger trial that they didn't get to see, is people's emotion breaking down on the stand and stuff like that? Is that what they wanted to see in order to feel that it was real? That's terrible. That is terrible if that's what people wanted to see, because think of this mom, 9 years old, her daughter is dead. Not long before she was gonna turn 10 years old, and her daughter is dead. Her daughter is gone, never to be seen, heard, loved, cared for, laughed with, none of that. But yet people can laugh and joke about that other case. It is freaking disgusting.
Garcia also mentioned that her daughter wanted to go home after the award ceremony that day, but her mother told her to stay for the pizza party they had previously planned.
And can you imagine that being the last thing that you remember? She wanted to come home, and I told her no. And she's no longer here. She's no longer here. She had to live with that for the rest of her life. That she told her daughter, no, don't come home, mija. Stay. Stay and enjoy the pizza party, enjoy hanging out with your friends, No mother should ever have to bury their child.
And well, week one of the Uvalde trial here wrapped up a short while ago, and it'll pick up again on Monday when we'll hear from more parents and witnesses as well. And, more folks are expected to testify. So we'll see more on Monday. Reporting at the Nueces County Courthouse, Natalia Suna, 3 News.
Okay, now let's get to the other one where we have another teacher testifying. This one kind of gave you the play-by-play from a different perspective, but also I don't agree with some of the protocol.
And Coach Gonzales makes you think, not fireworks, guns.
Yes.
And
Or
as you were
some.
trying to get inside, was there anything else that indicated to you that wasn't fireworks?
Yes, we could, when we were standing there, the dirt was you could see the dirt cloud up, kind of coming towards us. And then as we were all running into the classroom, I saw I don't know what to call him, horrible person, walking.
Just take your time, we can hold on.
Walking towards the door.
Can you describe him for us?
He had all black, long hair, and a gun.
You saw a gun? Can you describe that for us?
I mean, I'm not really a gun person, but it's long and black, so.
So can you imagine another teacher seeing the same thing that the other teacher saw and being scared? She's crying. You can tell that she's reliving the tragedy through her testimony, which I believe they'll never escape that trauma, ever.
And about this dirt being, would you say plowed up? I need to understand that a little better.
I don't know if you drop something in dirt or sand, I guess, and it kind of makes a cloud, and then I don't know how to explain it.
Okay, and did you see one of those clouds or more than
one? More than one.
More than one. And so how many children did you have with you?
In my personal class, we were all together.
Good question. Let's start with your class.
At the time, I wasn't 100% sure, but I think there was about 10 to 12 students.
With you?
Yes, the rest had left.
And there was another class out there?
There were several other classes on the playground.
So they were all at recess on the playground, and she sees this guy walking up with a gun, dressed all in black, long hair. And then she's about to recall to you her experience from then on.
At the time this puffing of the dirt was going on?
Yes.
Do they all allowed to intermix them for that?
Yes.
Okay. So the coach is giving you instructions, you had your own confirmations, you actually see somebody with a gun. Too stressful?
Yes.
Did it prevent you from acting?
No.
What did you do?
I yelled to the kids to get in the classrooms. The second grade teachers had opened their doors to let us in. And I went to the first classroom and I stood outside the door to make sure everybody had gotten off the playground.
So you got through the door before all your kids did?
Not all of them, but yes.
So but you didn't go in?
No.
And why is that?
So make sure they were safe and inside.
Another teacher with the hindsight to make sure that her students were safe before she enters. I can't make this up. I mean, these people that were watching over these children, heroes, man, putting their life on the line. And like the chat has said, there were men in combat gear, bulletproof vests, shields, and everything that did nothing. This guy right here did nothing. Didn't discharge his gun, didn't put his safety on the line and go after the shooter. Nothing.
And did you make sure they were all safe inside before you went inside?
Yes.
And so when you went inside, what did you do?
I went to the corner of the teacher's classroom and at that point noticed I had only about 2 to 3. Sorry. Of my own students in there. And so realized that they were kind of spread out into other classrooms. And then,
Did that cause concern for you? Tell me about that.
I mean, you just worry. And I mean, I know that they were all in a classroom, but not knowing where or who they were with was concerning because they weren't with me.
So what did you do?
We sat there for a little bit and you could see we just kind of waited and tried to keep the kids calm. So we'd gone into a 2nd grade classroom and a few of them were struggling to stay quiet. And
what's the idea of staying quiet?
So can you imagine the thoughts running through your head? You have all these kids you're responsible for. You're not thinking about your own life. You're thinking about theirs. You're trying to keep them calm. You're trying to say, be quiet, be quiet. We don't want them to hear us. Huddle together. You're trying to get everybody in order. Instead of running, having a plan of action, if you're already outside, run across the street, run down the street away from the school to a kind of like when we have a fire drill, we have a designated area where we all meet up. What's wrong with having a designated area where everybody who's outside in the line of fire of this event leave the school instead of saying, okay, everybody back into school? That angers me because just like in the World Trade Center, there were so many people that were almost out. And there were people saying, oh, it's nothing, get back to work. Go back upstairs. Halfway down, and they lost their lives because they listened to somebody. Instead of running from the problem, they ran back into it. I don't know what y'all feel about that, but I believe that if you're outside, you should distance yourself from the building and take the kids and get to safety. I don't know what you feel about that. Let me know.
don't talk, don't move, be still.
Is that part of the training that y'all had?
Yes.
You had training to stay quiet under what situations?
They just a lockdown.
A lockdown? Just, would you go through with us then what a lockdown is and what you do?
So it's lock lights out of sight. You lock your doors, which should be, and then you turn the lights off and you're out of sight. You go somewhere in your classroom that is away from windows, doors, hidden as best you can.
And is that school-wide?
Yes.
So in the lockdown, if you go in any room, according to the lockdown procedures, the kids are going to be away from the door and away from the windows,
Yes.
in the dark
Yes.
and quiet.
Yes.
And you had a little trouble with people being quiet.
Yes.
And so what did you do?
I like army crawled around the floor under these second graders' desk and did breathing with them
You go trace your hand and you breathe in and out as you go up and down your fingers. So I did that.
So now that we've heard two teachers' testimonies, I'm going to show you the video of the event actually happening so you get an understanding of what people saw that day. Here we go. And we will get back to her testimony. Not tonight, but we will get back to it. As you can tell, that's the perpetrator crashing his vehicle into the ravine. It is 11:28. As you heard them say, he entered the building at 11:32. They called 911 asking for help at 11:34. So he's out there, and there's going to be two people walking towards him here in a minute. I've watched this before. So you're going to see two people start to walk toward him. And this is a church. And these are church workers. And they see this happening. So they're walking over to see if they can help. And watch what happens. And there's also a person over here on the street that was going to help. And they walked off. Good luck. He jumps up and starts shooting. He starts shooting at them. And this man sees it. He walks off. These two are running back. They're sound. It'll kick in here in a minute. And there he goes across the field right there. So you can see where my mouse is. That's where he's at. And as you can tell, he throws his backpack over the gate, over the fence, the gun, and then he jumps over. This is not a hologram. This is not an imaginary person. As you can tell when somebody's moving, as you can see in the daylight, it takes a minute for the camera to focus on them. But he's walking through the field right there. And you can just see the outline of the individual. He dressed all in black, as they said. And there he is. There's another angle of the camera. And it's 11:30 at this point. They said it started at 11:32. So that's accurate because he's crossing the field right now toward the playground. So toward that door. So them being able to see him crossing, as you heard her say, she saw him dressed all in black with a gun as he was crossing the field. She was on the playground with her students. So that's pretty accurate if you ask me. And before anybody says, oh, he disappeared, they photoshopped him in, all this crap. He was there. Yeah, so the playground over here. See, 11:32. 11:32. He's already in the school. So you tell me what you're gonna do. You don't know where those shots are coming.
If you
There he is. He's about to enter the door. As we saw before, he entered the door. There's a clear view of him right there. A clear view. Doesn't get clearer than that. See, they still haven't issued a lockdown at 11:33. It didn't go into effect until 11:34, as one teacher said. He's already shooting. So right now, the lockdown has been called. As you can see, you don't hear kids screaming, you don't see people running everywhere, but you hear the gunman shooting. So this is 3 minutes. And granted, he's using a gun, right? But people say crime don't happen that fast. Bullshit. Look, 3 minutes. And this dude had done so much damage already. 3 minutes. Three minutes. I heard somebody say he shot off 100 rounds like it was nothing. 100 rounds. Okay, so they're entering at 3 or at 11:36, and he's still shooting as they're running in. So you can't tell me that they didn't hear gunshot. That's bullshit. They heard gunshot. They're running in. Watch. 5 of them. Yeah. Those 2 right there should have ran in and shot him, but they didn't. They're crouched down. They have the moment, they have the element of surprise, but they didn't. And I believe that one of those is Adrian Gonzales. What are they waiting for? What are they waiting for? I mean, are they waiting for him to run out the door and they can shoot him? No way they thought it was a barricaded person. You're right. What the hell were they waiting for? They ran in hearing the gunshots. And he still shooting. See, that would have pissed me off. Would have been like, you're shooting at me like that? Get your ass, bro. I'm going to recoil. I'm going to give me a bigger gun and I'm going back down. Give me your AR. I'm going back down there. You almost killed me. You almost shot me. I'm taking your ass out. But that's just me. I'm sitting here behind behind the desk showing this video, but that's just me. I mean, I think that I would do that. Because you know what? Those kids needed somebody to step up. So listen to all that weird sound that's coming into that camera. And it's from down the hall. Can you see anybody talking right here? You see anybody, flying by the camera? You see any birds or anything? But you still hear all that weird sound, right? But people want you to think that in another case, the cameras aren't able to catch those kind of sounds. Go get it! This dude doesn't do shit. This dude doesn't do shit. This dude's over here guarding this hallway. So at this point, he knows the cops are there, okay? He knows the cops are there. The element of surprise is no more. You could have had some cops coming at down that other freaking hallway, this hallway, and then got his ass. But no, they didn't. why this guy holding that gun if he's not going to use it? Why is he holding this gun if he's not going to use it? He just dressed up to play police officer. And that's what I believe all these people do is play police officer. They take the safety route. I back the blue, but I don't back this shit. Seven minutes after the shooting started, that one dude who had the AR went down the other hallway. This guy over here, that other guy that was right here, walked out of the building altogether, left these two right here. What the I mean, I understand that they got 9s compared to what his rifle was shooting. Go get you a bigger gun, bro. Call in for bigger guns. At least go down and try to take him out. Just sit there. What this dude crouching down for? Where's the enemy at this point? Him crouching down right here. At least this guy's right here in the line of fire. This guy is like, what, are they going to shoot each other? What? I mean, the enemy down the hall. This dude's still holding his rifle, not doing a damn thing with it. At least this dude is going down the hall. Nine minutes already. Who's this dude pointing his gun at? What the hell is he doing? The other guy with the rifle, the only guy with a high-powered rifle, is over here away from the damage. This guy just looking at this guy. This one, the only one actually responding to the shooter. But I bet they go home and play their little Call of Duty game and act like they're just commandos. Let me know if this makes you sick. This makes me sick. Because the Nashville cops, they didn't wait around like this. Those Nashville cops went in, guns blaring like you would expect them to go. They took down that shooter like it was no deal. These cops just sitting around waiting for what? I don't know. Even if he was barricaded, There's children down that hallway you need to go and protect. But they say, as you heard in the testimony, the defense attorneys say it was quiet. So they thought that the shooting was over, that there was no threat. So they didn't do anything. That's why they waited it out. We're at 11 minutes right now, and they're gathered together like they're just fixing to eat some donuts or something. There's another one with a high-powered rifle doing nothing, just standing there watching down the hall. This dude has been crouched in this position for at least 7-8 minutes, didn't move. This dude, the same thing. They have not moved. Now, I heard them say that they were waiting for people with shields, okay? I heard them say in an interview that they were waiting for people with the shields. All right, I get that. But you know what? You have bulletproof vest on. 6, 7 of you run down there and bum rush him. He can't kill you all. Look at this guy with a big ass gun. This one is another rifle. He said nobody would, they were waiting for instructions to be told what to do. So the kids have a protocol, the teachers have a protocol, the cops don't. They don't know what to do in case of an active shooter. So they just sit there with their guns looking like tough cops. Like I always say, everybody's a gangster until time to do gangster shit. Everybody always talks about, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I would have done this, I would have done that. They ain't doing shit, and they got guns, vests, you name it. So you can't tell me that you would have done anything different. I would have hoped that you would have. I would have hoped you would have been more heroic than these pieces of bull. But you can't tell me that you would have been any different than these people. Because we have countless people that say, I would have done this. I would have ran in there and I would have killed everybody. I would have killed the killer, blah, blah, blah. No, you wouldn't. It sounds brave. But being it and doing it are two different things. 13 minutes and all these 911 calls coming out. All the parents are outside right now trying to get in to get their kids. They're being tackled. They're being threatened. They're all this stuff. And this guy just aiming at whatever. I don't know what he's aiming at. These two are bullshitting over here. The guy finally got up from crouching. And we're just waiting. Why they keep pointing that way? I mean, everybody knows he's in that room. Go down the damn hallway. Let me speed it up a little bit. This is disgusting. Here comes more people. Here come the people with the shields, and it is 12:05. This started at 11:32. So 30-something minutes, these kids have been bleeding. Wow, I've never seen a body cam before. I believe they all should have been charged, all of them. Look at this. All these high-powered weapons, shields, bulletproof vests, helmets, all this stuff, not doing a damn thing. How much more tactical gear do you need? You need a tank to go down that hallway with? Till there, 12:16. Started at 11:32.
It's a door just like this one. It opens that way. It's good. It opens that way. That you open it, that way, swings that way. Right?
Almost like they're taking rotating shifts. Well, I pointed my gun down the hall, so I'm gonna go get some water. Can't handle it. Look at all those freaking people down that hall. 1222. I guess this is where they get the orders. Let's do this. Look at all those people down there. Take the border patrol officer to take them down. Everybody's being on his cell phone.
It's a door just like this one. It opens that way. It's good. It opens that way. That you open it, that way, swings that way. Right? Maybe we get the thing in that door. We can take them out. Come out. You got to be all right. Next thing, listen. I will something back to you. What's that? Well, I heard stop within the last minute. One back with just in the comment on one. There's 9 issues.
Those cops with the big ass guns, they should not be allowed to carry big guns anymore. They should have a taser or something. Cause they don't use their shit anyways. Look at him out there just bullshitting. Just standing there. That vest doesn't even fit him. This dude with a gun guarding the door. What the hell? They're arguing about it. It was my command, I'll do that. It was my command, I'll do that. This dude's about to take him out. This guy that's getting ready right here, he's the one to go down there and takes him out, I think.
You gotta know if the door is open and the door is closed.
They're big officers. I mean, look at this dude.
I'm in inside. We said you gotta get a free store. We saw the door. I did. The door gets rearranged. Yeah, I know. We got to close the door. The door is locked. I got a
You tell me, how did Border Patrol get jurisdiction over a school? How did Border Patrol get jurisdiction over a school? Well, supposedly they said the Border Patrol took him out, but I don't know if he took himself out. He might have. Probably did. All these cops on their cell phones and just talking and bullshitting. This one just holding down the hall.
Bring it. Yeah, we established it. I think Ronald had 2 keys. Is there any windows in that vessel? So we can reach the windows so we can put gas in there. There are. That's a possibility.
Why even respond if that's what you're gonna do? Why even respond? Stay behind your desk and eat your donuts. I mean, if you're just gonna hold up the wall and not even try to save kids, stay at your fucking desk.
They requested it. Keep going. I think that should be our best bet. They're making entry.
So it's almost an hour. 12:22. It started 11:32.
It was a shooter. He got me.
Look at all those cops. Look at all those freaking cops. Here's 12:43. It's already been an hour and some change. $378 officers for one active shooter. I can't watch that shit anymore. It's pathetic. Pathetic. What do y'all think? I didn't get back to where I was. My bad. What do y'all think? Y'all sat here and watched this with me. What do y'all think? Y'all think that they did everything they could to help them kids? Because that's what the battle's going to be. I'm going to paint reasonable doubt on why neither one of them did what they were supposed to. Yeah, only 2 on trial. Of all those 370, what'd you say, 376? 378? It is pathetic. Pathetic in so many ways. You know, I agree when the families sue. The families ought to sue the shit out of Uvalde County and everybody else who was in there representing an agency. Yeah. Because they did nothing. They did nothing. Talking on your radio, being on your cell phone, standing outside in the door, just shooting the breeze. Nothing. Nothing. Tackling the parents and using force on them. That's part of your being a civil servant. You weren't serving the Uvalde County that day. You weren't serving the state of Texas that day. You were not serving anything that day. You were self-serve, listening, especially the ones that first ran in there. They ran in there, and just because you got a little grade or you got a grade by your ear, that was enough to get you to say, I'm out. This is beyond me. I'm out. Come on, man. That's when you should have laced them up and said, let's roll. But not you. Not you. You're thinking about your grandkids. You're thinking about your wife. You're thinking about your pension. You're thinking about all this stuff that probably you shouldn't have been thinking about. And I'm sure you told everybody who would listen. Yeah, self-preservation could sacrifice so many kids. I'm sure you told anybody that would listen how heroic you were or how scared you were. Because anybody can say I was heroic and I ran into the line of fire, but you stopped. You didn't keep going. You didn't breach that threshold and say, screw this dude. I'm going to go take him out. No, you didn't do that at all. You just sat there and hunkered down, facing the other officer, securing what? What were you securing? Holding up the wall, as they say. You weren't doing a damn thing. You sure as hell weren't protecting and serving. You heard those gunshots as you were going in. You heard them. And for you to say it was quiet, we didn't hear anything. So therefore, we stopped our descent upon trying to rescue these kids. I'm shocked not more people have been indicted. Ensuring no heroes. Ensuring no heroes got by them. Yeah. There was mom and dad willing to run into the line of fire to take bullets for their kids to get them out. Yeah, they still needed medical attention. They still didn't even go and help with that. There was people in the hallways with gloved up, not running in to save anybody, put tourniquets on, comfort people that were still alive that maybe hadn't been shot. No, none of that. They're just out there bullshitting, out there shooting the breeze. I'm probably going to do a weekend type thing with this trial because I don't want to do a nightly thing because I got too much going on. Next week, this coming week, I'm gonna be on call. So, I mean, I don't want to get interrupted, but I'm probably gonna do some other cases and stuff like that during the week. So please tune in. Tell your people this is where it's at. There's a new look, new year, new 12. Hopefully we build the channel back up. Hopefully we get people in here willing to see exactly what real true crime is all about. Because I believe my channel is a real true crime channel. Whether you don't believe that, that's on you. As you can tell, tonight I wasn't very objective. I'm biased toward those kids because they deserve better. Those families deserve better. Hell, how could that community ever feel safe if they needed the police, knowing exactly that they would just show up and point the guns down an empty hallway? But they're quick to point a gun at you when they pull you out of the car. You know what I mean? They're quick to point a gun at you. They're quick to slam you on the ground and be tough and all this other stuff. And once again, I'll back the blue because there's some heroic people out there. There's some heroic police officers that put their lives on the line. These weren't it. This represents the worst Texas has to offer. We should represent the best we have to offer, especially when it's a tragedy such as this. And I hope these officers get dealt with because that'll send a message to further people about doing their damn job. They need to quit being scared and thinking that the only way that they're going to actually be a real police officer is by throwing people on the ground or shooting them when they're not doing anything wrong. Yeah. I saw a video. Let me see if I can find it right quick. This is so sad. This one right here. I'm going to show you a little bit of it. This is so sad, man. This is on true law and crime. I'm doing this for educational purposes. Here we go.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. And 166?
That is going to be a photograph just stepping inside of room 108, turning to the right and just seeing that part of the classroom.
And which of those walls is adjacent to the hallway?
The wall on the right with the cabinets is
And
going
is
to be
there-
on the
See, there's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to hide. This is one of the classrooms. There's the cubbies that the teacher were talking about. Where the hell are you going to hide from gunshots? You tell me. There's desks everywhere. Where are you going to run? Where are you going to hide?
It's going to be a closer up of the bullet defect. This is going to be.
Look at the window. Got crap everywhere. You can't just, I mean, it's not like people think this is going to happen every day. But when it does happen, it's almost like blocking a fire escape.
One of those sticky adhesive markers that we use to identify it. That's going to be the bullet defect going into the blind.
And exhibit 171?
Closer photograph of where the bullet struck the blind.
And 172, is that even closer?
Correct.
And along with that defect, were you able to find any bullet or bullet fragments?
Yes.
Showing you exhibit 173?
Yes, the bullet is going to be down here as evidenced by this marker, number 15.
174?
That is the actual bullet that came through. It came to rest on the.
There's the bullet casing right there.
windowsill.
And is it a complete bullet or a fragment?
It's pretty deformed. It doesn't look like it has a jacket. It looks like part of the core of the bullet, like a lead core.
Okay, thank you. Now, was that the extent of the defects you found then in room 108?
So this is what a trial would have been like had we seen it in the Koberger case.
Places you can see some of the a couple of the trajectory rods placed in bullet defects coming from outside the window going to the inside.
And would you talk to us about the bottom pane of the window?
Well, there's not much glass there. It's completely shattered.
Okay. And do you know what caused that shattering?
If I'm not mistaken, this room, I believe, this was probably, it may have been bullet defects, but it could have also been attempts to escape the classroom, trying to break the window so students could get out. It's just going to be a photograph looking inside room 104.
And do you?
Okay, this is room 104. Once again, look at all of the crime scene tag. Look at the cubbies. There are the windows using to get out. Where are you going to hide? Where are you going to hide? Where are you going to hide? Hey, Rondi. No, this is the Uvalde case. I don't know if you've heard of that. Where are you going to hide, though? Look at those desks. Look at the cubbies that they talked about, and there's the windows.
Lack of a better term, and it causes a lot of damage here. You can see all of these things here.
And State's Exhibit 181.
Again, just another photograph of that window. You can see the damage to these.
Hey, you know what? A lot of these windows probably look like that because they were knocked out so the students could get out for safety. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, you do what you can. But look at the window pane. Totally shattered out. You don't know if the bullet did that or what.
As it comes through.
State's Exhibit 186.
This is going to be a picture of, this is one of our, another one of the Texas Rangers holding the window frame in place.
So this, I don't know what this is. I don't know if they have little restrooms in the door, in the classrooms, or this is the actual door that goes into the classroom, or just an activity closet. But here's the cubby hole, the cubby that they were talking about. I mean, I guess they were getting behind those, under the desk, whatever. I mean, it's just terrible to think about. I mean, and there's another bullet shot through the window. Look how that, if it made that impression in the window pane, think about what it would do to a person. You know what I mean? And there's another shot right there. These are just going through the classroom. And see, if this was the outside door, this is all the person would have been able to see in. He was probably shooting this out to open the door, I would say. But look how they got the decorations on the fluorescent lights. Remember that teacher was talking about the cubbies as you walk in the door? There's the cubbies, there's the desk. There's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to protect yourself. I don't see it. And I think these are adjoining classrooms, like you can go into the other classroom from this door, and I think that's what he did. He walked in, started shooting up one, and then walked through the other classroom with the door locked, started shooting the other classroom, if I remember correctly. Look at all these shots. Like he was shooting up in the air, trying to scare people. You can't tell me this isn't terrifying. Can you imagine seeing a man in black shooting relentlessly? And you're trying to lay on the ground, scared to death, silent? Bro. These are evidence markers, by the way. It gives you the length of whatever it is that you're measuring. See, they didn't have that big bulky TV like I was talking about earlier. They had the modernized, projector, whatever. Um, Still, where are you gonna hide? Y'all tell me in the chat, where are you gonna hide? Where are you gonna hide? Tell me. Because I don't see it. I don't see hiding in the corner away from this person. And these are, in essence, crime scene photos. I mean, people want to see the gory details. Well, this is the gory details. These are probably where, unfortunately, students were laying. God. But true crime's a joke, right? True crime's a joke. It's for entertainment purposes only. Bullshit. This is real stuff. It's real stuff. There would have been blood everywhere. Do you see blood everywhere? I'm sure they didn't bring the kids out and then clean the blood up. I'm using this as an example. They were shot. The others were stabbed. There would have been blood everywhere. No, there wouldn't. Watching too many damn horror movies. You see blood everywhere? Y'all see that? There's blood right there. But do you see blood everywhere? I see a chaotic scene. This is where a bullet went through the table. See how it goes into the other classroom? That door does. So you enter one, you go through the door to get to the other one. There's a marker. There's a marker. What are you going to defend yourself with? Yeah, you should look like that. You see blood everywhere? No. But there were 13 people that died here. Look at that. This is real true crime right here. This is real true crime right here. They were showing these photos in the trial. There's another one right here. There's a trajectory of a bullet. This is outside the door into the hallway. So he was shooting out into the hallway. See how that door goes into the another hall? Into another room. 19 children and 2 teachers. Yeah. But you see how many people are watching this? 2, and I appreciate you too. We just want answers. We want to know what happened. But here you got exactly what happened. And there's nobody watching it for these children. They lost their lives. Rather talk about something that doesn't even matter anymore. Look, that TV's been shot. And these are definitely crime scene photos. I don't see blood everywhere, do you? There were people that died. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They said over 100 rounds shot. Look at the soccer ball, the basketball just laying there. It's like it's frozen in time. Like it's frozen in time. And that's all I have on that one. This is cool. Like I told my friend Jules, and we're talking about this, we're talking about true crime. And I told her, I said, true crime doesn't become real to you until you actually have experienced trauma regarding some kind of situation. Going out to the killing fields, like you heard me say, was traumatic. It was traumatic. It changed my total perception of true crime. It gave me an insight where, you sit in behind a desk and you're talking about a crime, but you don't have the emotional attachment to it to actually be right there knowing that somebody died. And I was going to go to this school, and I still might. I got plenty of weekends left. I still might. I was going to go to this school and I was going to drive around Uvalde. And I was going to see if I could find the killer's house, the trajectory in which he went. I don't know how they have it blocked off or whatever. I hear they're going to demolish the school. I don't know. But that's neither here nor there. 19 children and 2 teachers lost their lives. A real crime occurred in that school. And you can argue whatever you want to argue about which side you're on, whether the police did everything they could, or the killer didn't really do this or that and the other. That's not going to change the fact that these people were negligent protecting those children. Because as a person who deals with the public, priority one especially if you deal with children or adolescents. Your job is to protect them above everything, protect them above your own life. It doesn't matter if you die protecting them. That's your civil duty as a public servant. I work for the public. My duty is to protect these children when I transport them, when I'm with them at events or whatever. I'm to protect them. If there was an active shooter going on, my job is to protect these children. First and foremost. Nothing else, nothing less. So for these officers, 378 of them, 2 of them are being held accountable. Where are the other 376? Accountability. Where is that? It's an awful, awful situation for the families who are still dealing with the trauma, to the brothers and sisters that are still dealing with the trauma of their loved one being gone, to the teachers who survived who know that their students are no more, to the teachers that passed away knowing that the other teachers had been shot. Nobody made it out that day other than law enforcement unscathed. I believe that this is a horrible example of what should be done in an active shooter situation. And that's all I have for you tonight. I hope that you enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm going to try to do an update every week to try to catch you up with the trial and the testimonies and things like that. Until then, I will try to do a little bit at a time. You guys take care of each other. Make sure you're safe out there. And I'll see you again soon. My name is 12 Gauge, and this is my channel, 12 Gauge Investigative. Pass the word on. This is where it's at. Till next time, take care.